let's continue with our example of converting a fraction into a percent. All right, let's take a look at this. Now, let's suppose we have 7 over 8, and we want to convert that into a percent. So, I'm going to divide 7 by 8 in order to get a decimal. And so I have to do the division right there and add a decimal. Okay, 70 divided by 8. First we'll have 8 times, and that gives me 64. 70 minus 64 is 6. Then I'm going to add another 0 and bring that down. And then 60 divided by 8 is 7. 56. 7 times 8 is 56, right? So then 64 minus 56, and that is 4. Then I'm going to get another 0 and bring that down. And then 40 divided by 8, I can do that evenly. And that gives me 5. And then so my final answer, I have 7/8 now converted into a decimal, 0.875. And then I need that in order to convert to a percent. And remember, I'm going to move my decimal over from 0.875, move it over 2 places. Now I have 87.5% right there. Okay, here's our next example. Now, 5 halves. First, I need to convert that into a decimal and then into a percent. So I'm going to take 5 and divide it by 2. And that is 2, but 2 times 2 is 4. So put that in, 5 minus 4 equals 1. Add a 0, bring that down. How many times can 2 go into 10? It's going to be 5. So my decimal now is 2.5. But then to convert that into a percent, remember, I'm going to take the decimal and I'm going to move it over 2 times. 1, 2, and then I get 250%. All right, now let's take a look at 5/12. I need to convert 5/12 into a decimal first, and then get the percent. So I need to add some zeros into 5 so that I could divide it by divide 12 into that. 50 divided by 12, closest number will be 4, so I get 48. And then I have 50 minus 48, and that means 2. I need to get a 0 and bring that down. And then 20 now divided by 12. That's 1 time. And so 20 minus 12 is going to be 8. Add another 0. Well, I can get a fraction. So I'm going to take this 8 now and put it into a fraction because that's the remainder. And that's how I got 8 over 12. So now my decimal is 0.41 and 8/12. And then I can convert this into a percent. So I'm going to take that decimal now and move it over 2 places. So I'm going to have 41 and 8/12%. Or, well, then I also have to reduce the 8/12 to 2/3. And I get 41 and 2/3%. Now, I'm going to use a proportion to express 5/8 as a percent. A proportion, remember proportions are using fractions, and comparing the fractions. So I'm going to use 5/8 and set that equal to some number over 100, because the percent is a number over 100. Okay, then I can cross multiply and solve for n. That will give me my percent. So when I cross multiply, I have 8 times n and then 5 times 100. Then I'm going to divide by 8. Well, okay, so I have 8n equals 500. And then I'm going to divide by 8. 500 divided by 8. And that's going to give me 62 1/2. And as a percent, that will be 62.5% or 62.5%. Okay, your assignment is going to be chapter 7.1. Complete these numbers on page 268. I'm only having you do 2 problems from each section. These are also listed in Teams, and I will be listing it in Sycamore as well. So let's work hard on these, converting these numbers from percents to decimals and decimals to percents. If you want additional practice, you can get extra credit for any of the other problems that you do. And just make sure you show all of your work and then email me a picture of this assignment. All right, thank you guys.